Gato Squad? Welcome back to the channel. By now you already know that I am getting a Honda Civic Type R. But before we get there, before we get one, there's still a lot of things to talk about from my current car, the 2017 Honda Civic Hatchback. So today I wanted to share with you guys an update, a 10,000 mile update. So because I've gotten to 10,000 miles. I've owned this car for about 9 months. It's been quite a while. I feel like I just got it yesterday, but it's been 9 months. And you know, it just still doesn't cease to amaze me how good this car is. For the money, for the value. I mean, this is one of the best cars on the market, in my opinion, for the price. You know, you get it for $21,000. It's about 2.5 grand cheaper than the SI. You get the hatchback. It's just amazing. First and foremost, I wanted to just give a shout out to the handling of this car, the chassis. Whoever designed the chassis for the hatchbacks, and actually all you know 10th gen Civics, but mainly the hatchbacks. I feel like the hatchback's a little bit better prepared than the other Civic models. Whoever designed it, kudos to you, man. This car is great, amazing. Can't say enough good things about it. You know, it's very well composed over any bumps. You know, you feel anything. 18-inch rims, a little bit large for my liking, but they work very well with the car, the chassis, the suspension, everything about the suspension and the chassis of this car set up very nicely. So, ooh, we got an animal on the road. Anyway, so let's go ahead and take a look at me just going downhill on with this car, which is basically the best part of this car, is going downhill on a twisty road. And I have one near my house, so let's have a look. Downhill is where this car excels. The chassis is just really good. Not to say that it doesn't have that much power, but you know, it's not the most powerful car on the market, I'll tell you that. But downhill, you can definitely tell how good the chassis is. Even with the stock camber, stock suspension setup, this car is amazing. And you'll see, the road's a little bit slicker than usual, so I gotta be a little bit more careful than usual. Very composed. I can feel it sliding around a little bit. That's normal. Man, so good. If the Type R is anything like this, I'm gonna love it. And I'm sure it's even better than this. Little heel toe action there. Wonderful, wonderful. Isn't that awesome? I love the way this car drives and handles on the road. So yeah, I mean, a couple of other updates on this car. I've upgraded the brakes. The brake pads are doing quite well, quite fine. The shift knob is doing very well as well. I love it. You know, if you have this car in a manual, definitely get the upgraded shift knob. It makes the shifts that much better. And you know, this car shifts pretty well out of the factory, but with the upgraded shift knob, it's just that much better. So trust me on that. Really cool. In other news, I've cleaned the car out once, and it's got a lot of nooks and crannies back there. So if you carry any stuff like I do, like it gets a little messy back there, you're gonna have a fun time cleaning that out. Make sure you get a nice little shop vac or something to clean out those nooks and crannies. But one of the best things about this car is the hatchback. So while you do have to keep it clean, and it's a little more difficult to keep it clean because of all the little holes and shit in there, the hatchback is awesome in this car, and that's one of the main reasons why you buy this car. You know, if you're a Honda enthusiast and you want a nice sporty little car, you would get the SI, the sedan, or the coupe. The reason you get the hatchback is because of the hatchback, and you know, very spacious. I would not live without it. I'm very glad the Type R is a hatchback, because if it wasn't a hatchback, honestly, I probably wouldn't get it. Yeah, that's crazy, right? Wouldn't get it if it wasn't a hatchback. You know, even a two-door hatchback. I'm fine with two-door hatchbacks, four-door hatchback, whatever. As long as it's a hatchback, I could open up the whole trunk and I could put stuff in it. You know, I've done so much carrying in the back of this car. It's been amazing. So hatchback or bust, in my opinion. In terms of the manual transmission, it's held up pretty well. You know, the only thing I would caution against is the clutch. So the clutch is kind of the weak component in this car. So a lot of people have been tuning their cars, you know, the EXTs. You know, if you look at Import Car Enthusiast, I believe is his YouTube name. Sorry about that. Little cop action, not to worry. If you look at Import Car Enthusiast, he tuned his EXT manual, and he's talking about surging. So the reason the car's surging when you're accelerating is because the clutch is actually letting go. So it's, you know, plate on plate, and if it's letting go, you know, the clutch is basically not strong enough to hold that power. So the clutch is a weak point in this car. So I feel like the flywheel and clutch are going to be items where you're going to want to update at some point during the car's lifetime. So that's something to keep in mind. So in the 10,000 miles that I've owned this car, there are some negatives that I found that I really wanted to point out to you guys here. So let's start with the lack of a limited slip differential. Now I know you guys are gonna say, well, you just get the SI for that. Well, like I said before, I'm in love with the hatchback. I really like the hatchback, and there's no limited slip differential. The only way to remedy that is either getting a Type R, which I'm getting, or there should be some aftermarket options coming out soon for it, hopefully. We'll see about that. Anyway, so lack of LSD. It has a kind of an electronic vehicle stability system where it actually does torque vectoring, electronic torque vectoring, by braking the inside wheel. I've done a video on that. You go ahead and check that out. It helps, but it's still not as good as a real LSD. So that's one of the shortcomings. Another one of the shortcomings, the seats. So the seats themselves, you know, initially I really liked them a lot. You know, they're pretty comfortable, they have some bolstering to them, but I took them out to the track and they were just, I was just sliding everywhere. You know, I was basically hanging onto the steering wheel for dear life. That's not what you want in a seat. You know, you want a nice good bucket seat, and you know, from what I hear, the Civic SI and the Type R seats are that much better, right? So they're going to be a lot better than this car in terms of seating and the, you know, the way it holds you. Another thing I don't really like is the fabric. The fabric is okay, you know, it's kind of scratchy, but it does just fine. It does the job. But I really wish it was kind of a more like the Civic SI fabric. It's this different type of fabric. I can't even explain it. You know, if you sit on the SI and you sit on the Civic hatchback, you'll know the difference. And again, people will say just get the SI. And like I keep saying, I love the hatchback, and I really don't think that the SI is for me because I love the hatch. So I'm getting a Type R. I keep telling you guys that. So the seating and the lack of LSD are the main two things that I would really change about this car. Other than that, I mean, everything was great. The shifter, everything else. The miles per gallon, actually, I wanted to actually talk to you guys about that a little bit. Miles per gallon has been amazing. So 34, 35 miles to the gallon, and the way you've seen the way I drive. You know, I don't drive slowly at all. I drive aggressively, and wherever I can, obviously. So I'm not going to be unsafe, right? So, but you know, I drive aggressively. You know, around, I keep it, you know, highway speeds around 80, 90 miles per hour. 35 miles to the gallon, really good. Can't complain about that at all. If you're getting less than that, you're doing something wrong. Because I hammer the throttle all the time. I'm in turbo all the time, and it's really good. One of the last thoughts I want to leave you guys with is that this car is a great tuner platform. I've said it before, I'll say it again, this is a great tuner platform, and Hondata and K-Tuner both have tuners for this car. So I actually ordered a K-Tuner platform for this car, an actual little box to install in this car, but I may or may not have time to actually use it. By the time it gets here, we'll see. So the point is, if you want a little more power, if you want a little bit more performance out of your car, if you want to get rid of that rev hang, get a K-Tuner, get a Hondata. Either one will work really good. And this car in the future, we're gonna see this car in the next 2 or 3 years be really popular with the young crowd, the people that want to tune their cars and things like that. So I can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to the days when I see, you know, modified hatchbacks all over the place. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be like back in the 90s again. Hopefully with less fart cans though. If you don't know what a fart can is, take a look. my 10,000 mile update. If you have any questions, as always, please put them down below. You know, I've owned this car for a while, so I know a lot about it. And as always, subscribe, and I'll catch you later, guys. Peace out.
We've both been there before. When a love shuts the door, it's a losing game. It's a losing game. But this time it's more than another lot of war. This ain't the same. This ain't the same. They say